Please place your hands and palms face up on your lap and prepare to embrace the message of today's Lumina. True belonging doesn't require that we change who we are. It requires that we be who we are. Brene Brown. You may now open your eyes if you've chosen to close them.
Welcome everybody to Reunion Lumina 2024. My name is Lara Belcher and I graduated from Westover in spring of 2023, so like you, I'm an alum. Last year I had the pleasure of being one of 3 Lumina heads. Do we have any past chapel heads in the audience today? Fantastic, I love to see it. It was a wonderful experience and I was so excited when I was asked to help lead the service today. In the summer of 2020, 2 students, heads of the Jewish Students Association, wrote a heartfelt and vulnerable letter to the school expressing their experience of exclusion during the weekly communal gathering known as chapel. From this letter, a committee was formed in charge of reimagining what that time every Thursday could be for this community. The students and adults present, nuanced and challenging conversation were had. From this discourse of the conversations, a statement that encapsulated all that we hoped, wanted, and in some ways needed to have as a community was formed. Various members of the committee anonymously provided suggestions that they thought were conveying the intention of the community gathering, and everyone loved the name Lumina. Lumina in Latin means the light from lanterns. Now, as anyone who has walked around campus will notice, there are a lot of lanterns here. But what felt meaningful was that it was not the light from one lantern, but for many, as it is the plural form of the noun. This word felt beautifully appropriate to this community gathering, as it is not about one individual shining a light, but about all of us, as a collective, joining together to shine our lights. Lumina connects us not only with ourselves and others, but also with the rich history of the school and the world beyond Westover.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Heather Graff, and I've been elected as a new Lumina head for the coming school year. Shout out to my new fellow Lumina heads, Sally and Sophia, who cannot be here today. This year, we at Lumina's focused on coming-of-age stories from members of our community, reflections on personal identities, failures and successes, celebrations of joy, community, and culture. Looking back this past year, I would like to share with you all a memory I feel particularly impactful about the Lumina we had. It was the second Lumina of April, and I had just taken the hardest pre-calc quiz of the year. I was not in the best mood, and I could not wait to get out of that math classroom and into the Lumina. And then I walked into the chapel to see none other than my math teacher, standing at the podium, looking back at me. Great, just the person I wanted to see. To be fair, before this day, I hadn't really gotten to know my math teacher, Jenny Green. I liked her a lot, and I knew that she was very nice at conferences and was always patient in class, but I never got to know her as a person. When she got up to speak, the Jenny I knew in math class faded away, and the true cross-country coach in her emerged. She began telling us the story of her idol, a runner who had run the Boston Marathon many, many times, someone who she adored ever since she was a child. Jenny then shared how running was an escape. Whenever life got hard or she needed some joy, running was her outlet. She went on to share her own story of running the Boston Marathon, and explained how her students gave her such inspiration and confidence. Hearing her say these things and share her story was so impactful, and I remember leaving the chapel with tears in my eyes. Now, the Lumina mission statement is, Westover's Lumina program empowers community members of all identities and all beliefs to explore, question, and reflect on their own identities and others' ideas in an inclusive and spiritual space. This intentional community gathering, rooted in mindfulness, challenges community members to pause and to be more present.
many of you found out last night, I'm Alana Gransky, and I am the Director of the Race Center for Global Justice. I have had the distinct pleasure of developing the Lumina program in collaboration with my colleagues, Kelly Zevin, Chief Strategic Inclusion Officer, Julia Atwood, Music Director, and Emma McGovern, who I believe it is her reunion year, but she has a wedding today, who is our traditions coordinator, as well as student Lumina heads over the past 2 years. The Westover motto is Cogitare Agere Esse, just started. And in Latin, esse means to be. What exactly does it mean to be? When I first joined Westover in the fall of 2022, I truly had no idea. I have since learned that to be part of this community is something very special. This also makes me reflect on what it means to be part of this tradition here at All Newman's Chapel. When I accepted the job as the Raising Center Director, I had no idea that the chapel program played such a significant role in the lives of Westover alums. I also had no idea why this place was covered in lanterns. I had no knowledge of the songs or the processions that accompanied my newly inherited role as a Lumina coordinator, a role historically held by a chaplain, who, for most of you in this room, is Tom Porter. It's nearly impossible to build a bridge between the past and the present when you've only just arrived. But Westover traditions and history run deep, and I'm grateful for the students and alums alike who taught me what it means to be at Westover, to be part of this legacy, and to stand and be right here. To stand up here takes bravery. Each week as Lumina speakers step up to the podium, I'm reminded of that. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I've been given to foster a space that embraces vulnerability, celebrates individuality, and honors tradition. And to sit where you are in those uncomfortably small, creepy seats that nobody's super yes, no one's about it come here. It means to be part of the history of reflection, spirituality, and connectedness that is uniquely Westover. And yes, to be a student in 2024 means to process into Lumina just very similarly to the way that you did when you were students here, heels on the carpet, outside in the hall, and often singing as they walk in. Lumina is a space of belonging where all are welcome. It's a space to share, celebrate, and honor our identities, to appreciate those who mirror ourselves, and from those with whom we can learn. Ultimately, this time together unites Westover students in a space of care for and support one another. Lumina is a space for everyone, is invited to share their authentic selves and challenge others to do the same. We each have a light that shines within us, that is uniquely who we are, and is unique to where we come from. It is impossible to replicate. To be, essay, here in this chapel and part of Lumina is to share our light and bask in the illumination of the lifetimes of others.
I'm honored to be here today, speaking with you.
We love you, Mommy.
But not, and I'm so glad that you're here, but not everyone. I'm going to start naming names. It's no accident that Polly Fredlin is sitting in the front row of chapel. Upon first meeting Polly, you realize that the school is in good hands. And then when you read what she said, and we all heard her, we heard her this morning, you also realize that she has a vision for the school. And then when you get to know her a bit more, you realize that she embodies the vision of the school. So it was no accident that when I came to my first Lumina this February, as the students started lining up, there was Polly, cup of coffee in hand, walking up and down right in the middle of the students. was not surprised at that. It was pleasing, but I wasn't surprised because she's planted herself right next to the quad, in the middle of the school, as close as she could be to the center of things. So, of course, it was most natural that she would be in the middle of the processional like she was today. There's no surprise there. But there was something that should surprise all of you, and I'm looking at many of you. To hear about the swirl of the students around her as the students were lining up for this Lumina service. And that surprise in me developed over decades of expectation. And I'm looking again at all of you as I say this because it was actually quiet out there. There wasn't much giggling. There wasn't shouts. Without any instruction from adults, there was no Monica Rothman. The students prepared for and then entered this space quietly and reverently, on their own. So it seemed to me, except that there was no instruction necessary because the faculty and staff were out lined up with the students. The faculty line up with the students, their instructor, they're near their advisors. And it really provided just the right mood for the entry into this space. As Lana just said, for over a century, this room has been a place for reflection, spirituality, and connectedness. The Lumina, on the day I attended a celebration of the Chinese New Year, and you may have remembered from the slides last night, there's a picture of Chinese club students along with Alana and Ollie holding up the Chinese characters up in the front here, all those red squares. That chapel was a sustained reflection on the meaning and history of that tradition. And it happened through music, personal stories of students, and even congregational participation as the students passed around a stuffed animal to music. There was music from the tradition playing, and it would play for a while, and they would all pass the animal around. And when it stopped, the person holding this stuffed animal would be given a special blessing for the new year. And on one occasion, there was a faculty sitting right here, and he ended up with the animal, much to the delight of the students. I don't remember any faculty or staff or students, for that matter, getting blessings like that during my time. Now, what struck me throughout the Lumina was its natural solemnity. The Lumina line had clearly been done that way for many weeks. And that's something you notice when you've been doing this for a long time. Faculty, staff, and students entered reverently, and that reverence characterized the entire service. It was a reverence that included a wonderfully comfortable silence. I've long thought that the practice of silence is one of the gifts of the chapel program, and I can assure you that that practice has been alive and well in a new way in the 2024 Westover Lumina program. As with all of the practices and consequent fruits of what was called chapel and is now Lumina, this is not the only program or space where those fruits are evident. So the practice of silence, all teachers know about that in the classroom. The differences among silences. There are welcoming silences. There are silences that are excruciating. There are silences that are itching for humor. You didn't understand that. There are silences that are necessary to transition from one activity to another, from one thought to another. Okay, in some classes there's a bit of noisy chaos.
Yeah.
But in any gathering of people, silences have a story to tell. And as the philosopher Simone Weil said, the silence growing out of attention to one's schoolwork is one of the great forms of prayer. In 2010, the English department from another boarding school, as part of their professional development, visited Westover, as it happened on the day the school gathered in chapel to hear Farmhouse O'Clock. Does anyone remember her? Yeah, great. When she gave a talk, she told her story about her family's escaping Afghanistan on foot so that she and her sisters could be educated. They went to Pakistan, that didn't work. They ended up in England. It was quite a story. Well, at the end of the day, this committee in our English department met in Tom Giovan's classroom. And we discussed the visitors' observation in Westover. And one of the visitors said, that story, because they in the check said, that story was a remarkable gift. You know, we have at our school a student who could tell a story much like hers. But we don't have a place or a gathering where the story could be received as it was in your chapel. Farnaz's story was offered to this community as a gift. But if the gift is to be given, there must be a connection. Those offered the gift must receive it. And that's what happens in chapel. I'm convinced that as a place and gathering of such gifts and of such receiving, a space of connectedness, which begins out in the hallway, in the processional, and continues in the communal singing, and in the open and honest reflections, humor, and graciousness. Lumina maintains a spirit that is unmistakably Westover's.
I would now like to introduce our speakers, DJ Luis D'Agostino, class of 1979, and incoming Lumina head, Kendra Rapp, class of 2025. DJ is a West and a very active member of the Westover community. She's a class agent and served on the Board of Governors from 2006 until 2012. She has been a volunteer for the Sophomore Class Career Day program, recently retired. DJ was a director in the pharmaceutical industry, coordinating and executing international trial and clinical research protocols and procedures. DJ is back on campus today as an aunt and an alum, celebrating her 45th reunion. Kendra, an award-winning poet, costumer, my new girl, and head of the Letterpress Collective, is a writing senior at Westover. She is the recipient of the Barbara Coates Scholarship Award, along with a regional winner for 2 local poetry competitions. This year, she was also the recipient of the Louise Wolfley Gillingham Award, an award for integrity within the community. Kendra is joining her aunt DJ today, proudly continuing the West legacy.
Good morning. I'm DJ Luis D'Agostino, class of 79, and proud aunt of Kendra Rapp, class of 2025. In today's Lumina Talk, I will delve into our Westover community, traditions, change, and our legacy, while Kendra will speak about the Westover experience thus far. How we began. The vision of 2 empowered women created and defined Westover to give us what Westover women share today, a sisterhood. Their legacy began with the gestation and birth of Westover in 1909 and continues today with the educated Westover women who walk these hallowed halls to undertake the world's challenges and succeed in their lives. Theodate Pope Riddle, an incredible woman of her time, an architect, designed and built Westover in collaboration with Mary Hillard, the inspirational founder of Westover. Mary had numerous challenges as she single-handedly began the school with the goal of improving educational opportunities for young women. We are a vast network, a sisterhood of impressive, diverse, and empowered women who were and are being educated in this institution. We share a common familial bond, spirit and strength within our diverse community that transcends across the generations of Westover women. Linking us to each other into our beloved traditions as old girl, new girl, West, over, heads of school, Dorcas, Candlewood, the Germans, raised now to Westover, as well as the ring, lantern, orchard, and graduation ceremonies. Even the hymns that we sing today and have sung before, glorious things of thee are spoken, Jerusalem, and O hail the power of whom we learn, are a powerful part of our Westover traditions and stir our emotions. Mary had a school from 1909 to 1932 stated, it is essential that the school customs be handed down from year to year and be full of significance. What is embodied in school tradition and incorporated in the ordered life of the school from season to season will communicate to the student body a continued experience from which that custom sprung. When that sentiment is sincere and true, the custom will be a channel through which the emotion will renew itself, deepening and enriching both the individual and the school. We do not just have personal connections and friendships, but rather a strong bond, similar to a family, which began at Westover and lasts a lifetime. This type of family connection is rare in high school, but it is given here at Westover. During my time and after my college years, I kept in touch with treasured faculty from my time there, Allison Terry Halloran, Bruce Coffin, Seamus Weber, and Annika Rockland. When I happily relayed that my education at Westover was a triumph after easily succeeding in college English and literature electives, as well as advanced biology and chemistry courses, Allison Terry shared my joy, while Seamus gave me a stern look and promptly put me in my place by stating that I was probably not being challenged enough. When I became a Westover governor in 2006, I had the opportunity to connect with a wonderful, diverse group of Westover women on the board. Even though some were younger or older, we still share the bond of being a member of the Westover family. I've had lasting friendships with various board members that continue today. During my time as governor, I began to appreciate the historical importance of Westover and our archives, from Mariah Randall Allen, class of 1942, and Margaret Muffy Clement Green, class of 1965. Susan Addis, class of 1947, and I connected while working in the alumni gift shop in Red Hall during the reunion weekends. And on public health graduate studies, even though our careers had taken different paths. Lois Ginny Chustin, class of 1955, Susan Boynton, class of 1974, and I enjoyed collaborating and selling merchandise from the alumni gift shop. Brooke Whiteley Wise, class of 1999, and I occasionally see each other and catch up on life events. During our last reunion in 2018, Nancy Pilates, class of 1986, worked in the alumni office at the time, facilitated my connection with a younger alum. Andy Dahl, class of 2014, and I share a common work connection in Westover. Andy and I discussed various career options as well as potential ways to branch out within the pharmaceutical industry during our communications. I've enjoyed my learning from these Westover women and have been blessed by our network connections. As an alum, I brought my young niece, Kendra, with me to various Westover events and weekends that I attended. Kendra was able to experience my Westover family and network firsthand. I believe that this sense of community or Westover family might have influenced Kendra in choosing Westover. It also led to Kendra not only having Westover sisters, but also having Westover aunts. As a West, I upheld my commitment to our legacy and informed Kendra that if she came to Westover, that it was her prerogative to become a West. And I knew that this particular part of our Westover legacy was important, and I am proud to say she is a West. Whatever Kendra chooses as her path in life, Westover will remain part of her life. I believe that Kendra will be an active member within the network of Westover women. As an aunt, my wish is that Kendra will continue to share her personal joys and challenges with her Westover sisters throughout her lifetime. Women's lives have been affected by significant transformations in societal roles, legal rights, and personal freedoms over the last 115 years. Similarly, the Westover community and traditions have experienced alteration and modification from 1909 to the present. Theodate Pope Riddle was one of the first American female architects attempting to succeed in an all-male field. She experienced hurdles that men did not have and was not allowed to attend the same architectural programs as men did. Theodate overcame these barriers by pursuing apprenticeships and self-directed studies. Mary Hillard had to battle against a male-dominated society that did not support providing rigorous private education to young women. Mary developed a liberal arts-based private education for young women that prepared them for higher education. Mary envisioned a school that was functional as well as inspirational for women. Mary worked with Theodate to create Westover to be conducive to learning and to living. These two women designed the main building, thereby establishing the Westover community, encircling the pride, and having Sally Port showcase the open field, the stone walls, and our beloved Seven Sisters fireplace of the home. Mary Hillard developed many traditions along with a strong academic curriculum to build a sense of community. She stated that she wanted to manage young people and set them on the right path, impressing her girls with a sense of the real values of life. The team sports were played between the West, the Over, and the senior teams, as there were no other schools close enough to play against at that time. The class of 1918 had a curriculum of mathematics, English, Latin, science, French, Italian, music, which included piano, violin, and singing, drawing, and history. Theodate Pope Riddle had become a licensed architect in New York during 1926, 17 years after completing Westover. From 1909 through the 60s and 70s, there have been societal shifts evolution of cultural attitudes, and increased feminist activism that led to changes in some of our traditions. A very special thank you to Margaret Mumpy Clement Green, class of 1965, and Rich Peavy, parent 2010, for helping with this Westover history secured from our archives. Our Westover Chapel, named after St. Margaret of Scotland, was partially consecrated and dedicated. The traditional religious service, held twice a day, in the morning with procession beginning in Red Wall, and in the evening after this dinner. The services included hymns, chants, prayers, readings, and a sermon by local ministers. There were baptisms, confirmations, and marriages performed here in the chapel. Chapel line along both sides of the corridor was led by the heads of glee. The heads of glee consisted of first soprano, second soprano, first alto, and second alto, to complete a four-part harmony. The grasshopper was a small pump organ that was played by the fourth-headed glee and used as an accompaniment for girls starting their hall until they entered the chapel, where the organ was played. A fun fact, the grasshopper and organ were often out of sync, which created adjustment as students entered the chapel. We adapt and change. Even the tradition of chapel has experienced evolution beginning in 1964. The first headmaster of Westover, Robert Eichelhart, canceled morning and evening chapel services due to student protests. However, the students objected to the canceling of this tradition, and chapel was reestablished for the evenings. I'm personally grateful that one particular tradition was abolished. Back in the 70s, Westover cheerleaders were initiated by the Westover teams. My initiation experience did not involve me singing, which spared those being initiated and in attendance, but led to an inordinate amount of cold mud on that night, and a very long, warm shower after my initiation. By the mid to late 70s, women's perception of religion had changed significantly due to feminist theology. There was a rise in spiritual practice in contrast to traditional religious services, exploration of non-traditional and Eastern religions, social justice movements, interfaith activities, and formulation of supportive communities. It was during this time that Westover's chapel service had begun to go additional adaptation. Chapel was held every Wednesday night after dinner, thereby shortening the evening's study hall. The speakers were primarily internal, either faculty or students. Occasionally, there was an external speaker. On a personal note, attending events such as candlelight, graduation, and reunions in this chapel has given me many lasting memories. The candlelight service was formerly known as the service of lessons and carols during the time that the class of 1979 attended Westover. At each reunion, chapel line is still fraught with giggles, talking, not paying attention to instructions to line up, and memories of Annika Rockman's booming voice. Stand up straight, chest out, heels to the back of the carpet, now march, and no talk. How could a woman with a small stature have such a loud voice that carried all the way down the hall? Two of my favorite events in this chapel that I share with my Westover family are candlelight and Lumina. I'm particularly fond of the balcony in the back of chapel because it provides one of the best view of this beautiful space. I shared candlelight with my own sister during Kendra's first couple of years in the balcony, of course. Kendra and I shared the love of candles, meaning during the candlelight, as well as the I've enjoyed many chapel and Lumina services in the Valley throughout the years with my Westover sisters, including Star White Smith, class of 1969, and Emily Renz Barron, class of 1978. As a proud aunt, my favorite events might change. Kendra's graduation and future reunions. To me, the following poem symbolizes Westover Lumina, our sisterhood, and the light of Lumina. Flames of resistance by Maya Angelou. In the darkest night, a flame does rise, resisting winds, touching the skies. It's the fire of women, fierce and bright, illuminating the world with their light. Not just embers, but blazing fires, challenging norms, lifting desires. Against the cold, their warmth persists. In the flames of resistance, hope exists. Through smoke and ash, their voices clear, determined, unyielding, shone from here. For in every spark, every blaze, women's rights come alive in countless ways. Our legacy and ambition. Westover is not just about keeping the embers of past traditions alive. It is about blazing a trail forward and clearing the way for the next generation of empowered women leaders. In summary, significant transformations in societal roles, legal rights, and personal freedoms have occurred from 1909 to the present. Similarly, the Westover community and traditions have evolved as well. One constant is that we maintain our sense of family and community while growing along with the transformation of our traditions. As a Westover alum and aunt, I believe in the importance of our legacy to continue supporting Westover women so that they may embody our motto, to think, to do, to be in their lives. I wish that all younger alum, along with my niece, support their roles in continuing the wonderful Westover legacy of a community rich with empowered women. It is critical that we, as empowered women, blazing forward, continue to support the legacy of the two women who created Westover, because we are women. Now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing my niece, Kendra Graff, class of 2025, who will speak about her experience within the Westover community. Thank you.
So many schools, the one that stood out to me was Westover. Even though I couldn't meet any students, what made Westover stand out to me was the school's opening line, "Come as you are." While other schools promised that art lovers or sports fanatics would fit in, Westover simply declared that every student would belong. It was something that was so unique to the school, and to this day stands true. So what has that meant for me? Come as you are. As a student at Westover today, it has meant that I can truly and unconditionally be myself. I've learned that I am able to embrace every aspect of myself, remain curious about my passions, and still be surrounded by friends who support me every step of the way. It has meant being true to myself through every success and every challenge, and never feeling that I don't or won't belong. I have learned so much about myself since entering Westover my freshman year. Last year, I had the honor of being elected as a Dorcas head, a position that taught me skills I never would have expected. We have any Dorcas heads in the house? Yes, awesome. My sense and We were lucky enough to actually meet one of the co-founders of the organization, and we invited her to Westover to share her experience and story with the community in Lumina. Being able to hear her story and the impact of the Sandy Hook shooting on her life and the community made students and faculty so much more aware of both the cause and the support we could bring to it. While the Lumina was one that left many in tears and with a wave of certain emotions, it was one that truly connected the community in a mutual sense of understanding. I'm so grateful to have met and have heard from her, and throughout the year we worked together to both raise money for and bring awareness to the Sandy Hook Promise. It was an experience I would not trade the world for. Another experience I had while attending Westover was a chance to attend the Knock Junior Internship in Montebello, Quebec. The Knock Institute is a research center focusing on environmental conservation that hosts travelers, researchers, and college students to learn from their center. As a junior intern, I was able to help senior interns with the research and development of their thesis projects. While there, I got to go boating and look for loon nests, snorkeling for bass nests, helping fly a drone to learn about echolocation, and so much more. While these memories certainly stick out as the most exhilarating, the one I always recall was the last night I spent here. We all stayed up far past sunset, and the senior interns had gone to bed hours ago. Myself and the other junior interns were on our way to our cabin ourselves, having spent the whole afternoon in the lake. I remember walking back with Osheen and Jay, two junior interns I became very close with, and seeing hundreds of fireflies. Now, growing up on a farm in rural Connecticut, you'd think fireflies were a common sight. Before this point, I'd seen maybe 1 or 2 fireflies at a time, a few points during the year, but this was different. Our cabins outside, outside our cabins, it seemed as though the stars had fallen to eye level, and that they were blinking through the air. As I got in bed and looked out the window, it seriously looked like a dream. Being at Knock made my love for environmental science stronger, yes, but it left a lasting impression and love for nature in me. It gave me the chance to really disconnect from the rush of the world and enjoy the beauty of nature. Now, whenever I'm stressed or seem to have hundreds of assignments on my plate, Westover's Boathouse acts as a place of solace for me. I found a wooden dock and rickety hammock on many occasions of disappointment, frustration, and sadness. One such occasion was this past spring. Election season is a month-long whirlpool of posters and speeches of comparing yourself to every other candidate and spending weeks for voting results to be released. I ran for head of school against 6 other candidates. With only 2 positions, the odds were stacked against me. Each time I brought up my fear to a friend or a teacher, I got the same response. No, I'm sure you'll get it, like, you're fine, you're gonna be fine. Well, I had heard it so much, I became confident I might get the role. As the weeks passed and the day of elections got closer, more and more anxiety began piling up. What if I ran for the wrong position? What if I don't get the position? Or worse, what if I get it and I do a terrible job? The questions kept piling, and I found myself practically shaking the day of results. First, the work sets were announced, then spirit heads, and finally heads of school. As they began announcing the 8 heads of school, I knew the moment had come. First head proctor, then day's head, first and second head were announced last. Finally, they read the names as the first 2 heads of school, and neither were myself. I found myself overwhelmed with so many emotions. Pride for 2 of my best friends who had been elected for the roles. Disappointment in myself for having not been elected. But what also came to me, which I had not expected, was relief. Nonetheless, I wanted to be anywhere but surrounded by everyone when I found out the news, and I rushed to the one place I knew I could be alone, the boathouse. On my way there, I ran into a teacher, Marcy, who had spotted my tears and pulled me aside. I explained, I just need a moment alone, I'm just going to go on a walk to the boathouse. And I left. After I got to the dock, I dissolved into tears and fell on the bench, and I will admit I stayed there for a while. Soon, however, I heard a dog bark, and then another. I recognized these dogs immediately. They belonged to my advisor and Latin teacher, Katie Kay. Apparently, the teacher I ran into warned Katie about my upset and asked her to check on me. After a long pep talk and lots of puppy time, she left me feeling so much better. She assured me that this didn't reflect on my character poorly, and that no one would think any less of me for not being elected as high school. Most importantly, she left me knowing it was okay to stay here and cry, as long and as loudly as I needed to. It was okay to be upset. She didn't promise me that everything would be okay or that position I applied for. She simply allowed me to feel what I was feeling. After a few days, I began to truly understand that losing the election was exactly what needed to happen. I received news that I was elected as chief copy editor of the WIC, our school newspaper, which I wouldn't have been able to do as at school. I was able to finalize my ideas for my independent senior project, which I wouldn't have had time for as at school. Most importantly to me, I was elected as Lumina Head, a position I can bring so much more light and inspiration to about myself. Although it is easy to dwell on the challenges and struggles I may have had in high school, I've also had so many successes that have blossomed by just being me. I found an incredible love for poetry and have chosen to focus on that as my senior project. I found incredible people who love me no matter what. I found passions and hobbies like theater and the Letterpress Collective that allow me to be creative in every aspect of my life. It's because of these people and these experiences that I'm here in front of you today. It's because of Dorcas and Knock and Katie that I've learned so much about service, strength, and resilience. At Westover, I know that I'm surrounded by people who understand me and allow me to be myself. I don't know if when you were a Westover student, if you felt like you could be your true self. But it is my hope that when you walk out of this chapel, you know you can be. I hope you will take Westover's come as you are mantra, find your outlet, explore your passions, and greet challenges with confidence in yourself. Now, I would not be myself without sharing you a little bit of poetry. I would like to share with you a poem that I feel deeply connects to the spirit of Westover, the solace of nature, and the message of resilience I've shared with you today. Wild Peace by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear petals of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like a wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. I hope each of you, returning to this yellow memory once more, can hear Westover calling you, announcing your place, and returning as a member of our Westover family.
Dostoevsky's great characters reminds us, one good memory has the power to save us all. One good memory gathers within us the power of hope. And if memory can encourage hope in life, we need to be vigilant in our memories, especially memories of those dear to us. Therefore, let's take a few minutes now to remember in quiet prayer and meditation the prayers the members of these reunion classes who have died. You can do this quietly, but not necessarily silently. If you would like during this time to share aloud the name of the person you are thinking of, so that we might be mindful of that person with you, and please do so. May all who are dear to us be held in love in our hope for a good that exceeds even our deepest desires and wishes. Amen.
Once you hear the music, you may stand and begin processing out of the chapel. Please remain singing until the procession reaches our call. You do not need to line up in the hallway, but please do proceed into lines as you have done in the past. We invite you once again to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Here are some affirmations that you may choose to repeat silently to yourself now and throughout the weekend. I am part of something bigger. We are all connected. I can be a bridge connecting the past to the future. We are family.
This has been a blessing by John and Don. And there's one word, korah, here, which is a small boat. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the korah of thought and the stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life.